This woman doctor suddenly realized that the 6-year-old patient she was seeing in front of her was her husband's son. She couldn't believe it was true, but the boy's full face, the way his ears went up when he was nervous, and his last name was the same as her husband's. But seeing the boy's mom, Lisa didn't voice her doubts. She did what a doctor should do, but in order to confirm her suspicions, as soon as she got home, she asked her husband about the boy's mother Annie. Carl was calm and collected. He said he'd never heard of her, but it was this answer made Lisa even more suspicious that her husband had a son outside the home. She couldn't help but tell her best friend. Best friend said, "I warned you, but you didn't believe me. The last time you and Carl celebrated your anniversary, he was called away by a phone call. Even though he's a lawyer, he shouldn't be busy on such an important day." Another time, best friend accidentally saw Carl and a woman in a restaurant on the street. Lisa was furious and rushed there, but when she got to her husband, she found out that the woman was a friend of hers. Lisa thought it was a misunderstanding and blamed her best friend. Now Lisa really suspected, so her best friend told her to go for a paternity test. When Annie took her son for a follow-up test because the boy was found to have scoliosis, Lisa came to Anne's house on the pretext of instructing mattresses and chairs, but she didn't find any strong physical evidence. Instead, she was surprised to find that she had a husband. She thought she must have misunderstood. She shouldn't have gotten involved without evidence. She blamed herself for almost destroying both families, but when her best friend found out, she insisted that Annie was cheating on her husband. She told her not to give up on the case, but Lisa hesitated. While she was hesitating, she was stopped by Annie's husband on his way home from work. A greasy man. He wanted to take her to dinner. He even tried to harass her. Lisa secretly took out her cell phone to notify her husband. Luckily Carl arrived just in time, and thus a tragedy was averted. But before leaving, she stole Annie's husband's dishes. She asked a colleague for a paternity test, and when Annie came back to the hospital to get her son's report, Lisa deliberately threw her husband's photo on the floor. When she saw it, she was dumbfounded. Lisa said, "This is my husband." Then Annie left in a hurry and was in a state of depression, and Lisa's heart also vaguely sure of a roughly. When her colleague brought her the results of the identification report that the boy was not related to Annie's husband, she went straight to Annie's house. She demanded that she tell her everything about Carl. She insisted she didn't know Carl. An appraisal report doesn't prove that we're related. She also kicked her out of the house. Lisa realized she didn't have enough evidence. She could only retreat for the time being, but she didn't stop there. She went home and searched through her husband's papers, but she didn't find anything about Annie. She had to wait until her husband got off work. Then she came to his office to look for, opened the computer. On a folder of client information, Anne's name was written on it. Now she knew everything. She went home in a rage. She asked her husband why he lied to her. "You said you didn't know Annie." Her husband was dumbfounded when he realized that she had peeked at his computer. Then he explained that they were clients from 7 years ago. "How could I remember? Now that we're talking about it." Lisa asked directly about the 6-year-old boy, but Carl insisted he'd never done anything wrong, and there was no way he could have had a child. He even asked her if she was crazy. "Since you're not related," Lisa asked him to take a paternity test. Carl agreed to do it. The results of the report came back a few days later. Lisa found her husband and asked him to open it with her. Carl wasn't unnerved, still quite confident. He wanted to prove Lisa's suspicions wrong, and when she took out the report and read the results, Lisa was shocked.